So yeah, vectors in machine learning. If you are a machine learning engineer, one thing that you will work with day in and day out is a vector. Vectors are ubiquitous in machine learning. So vectors are very common. It's like you have to know these things. So vectors, and the bigger thing about the more general portion of vectors is matrices. Another general thing of matrices is tensors. Okay. So you may have heard about uh, the recent deep learning frameworks like TensorFlow, PyTorch, those kinds of things.
Uh-huh.
So they use tensors. So basically, a vector is a tensor of rank one. So you can think of a number as a tensor of
Mm-hmm.
rank zero. Okay,
Tensors of rank 0.
zero.
Okay.
A vector is a tensor of rank one.
Okay.
A matrix is a tensor of rank two, and so on.
Okay.
Okay, are you getting the flow?
Yes, yes. Scalar
So
versus, yeah, vector, right? Yeah, okay.
yeah,
Zero is
so
a scalar quantity is a tensor of 0.
yes,
Matrix has like two axes, yeah. Okay.
yes. So in programming terms, a vector is basically an array.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But let's look a bit into the theory and mathematics. Fine.
Okay.
So, if you have taken any college level physics or engineering, you probably think of vectors as something that has both magnitude and direction, where the length of the vector is the magnitude and orientation of the vector is the direction. So, I think it's generally in uh, under, so below 10th, in 6th, 7th itself, you will probably be exposed to vector
Yes, yes.
in physics to vector mathematics, correct?
Yes, yes.
Yes, so if you remember the physics classes, it was like vector is something that has both magnitude and direction.
Yeah.
So for example, speed is a scalar quantity, but vector velocity is a vector because it has both magnitude and direction. You would define something to be a
Mm.
vector if both magnitude and direction are important to get complete idea about the impact of the variable. For example, time is not a vector quantity, but a time interval is. So time can go both backward and forward. So it's generally regarded as a scalar. You are just interested in the uh, magnitude of the time, not the direction. But when you talk about time interval, you are also kind of giving the direction of it.
Mm.
Another example of an area is of a vector is an area that maybe because you generally don't think about it, but you are also kind of interested in how the area. So, for example, a mountain, you would like to, you would probably hold a mountain at a lesser cost than a of lesser value than a an area of a land in a plain because it's tougher to build houses. So you want uh, lands to be a bit flat. It's a bit of a stretch to make that kind of real world analogy, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you can probably make that kind of analogy.
Mm. Okay.
Okay, so coming back to maths, vector components and what are vector components and basis vectors. So let's consider three-dimensional space. So generally in three-dimensional space, you have x component, y component, and z component.
Mm.
And they are also, so there are, along with these three components, you have three, you can say, unit vectors, which are generally termed as I, J, and K. Can you see the I, J, and K values?
Yeah.
So generally, I, J, and K are unit vectors, which means that I is of magnitude 1 in the direction of x, J is of magnitude 1 in the direction of y, and K is of magnitude 1 in the direction of k.
Yeah.
Make sense? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, go a bit below. So the coordinate basis vectors are of unit length in the direct units that the coordinate system is measured, and the direction is in the direction of the coordinate axis. Generally, in case of a three-dimensional system, the I hat, j hat, and k hat are considered to be the basis vectors of the x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis respectively. Okay. So once you have the coordinates and the unit vectors in place, go a bit top. Yeah, once you have the coordinates and the unit vectors in place, you are in a position to find the components of your vectors. A way to visualize the vector component, you can ask how far do I have to go in the x direction, how far do I have to go in the y direction, and how far do I have to go in the z direction. So if you look
Mm.
at the at this diagram below, so my
Mm-hmm.
r is a vector. Okay, so to
Mm.
define R, I can say how much do I have to go in the x-axis, how much do I have to go in the y-axis, and how much do I have to go in the z-axis.
Yeah.
So I will define them as 2i, say in case the respective magnitudes are 2i, 3j, and 5k, I will go in those units.
Mm.
Okay. So,
Mm.
making the leap, I can define my R vector to be I can write my R vector in that form. Are you seeing the
Yeah.
form? 2, 3, 5.
Mm.
Yeah, Shiva.
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah, can you see that I
Hello.
have written the 2, 3, and 5, the 2i, 3j, and 5k in
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So,
Mm-hmm.
so we can see that the left hand of the above equation, which we know to be a vector in the traditional sense, has resolved to become a 3 into 1 dimensional matrix.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to know what is the dimension of a matrix, is basically the first one is the number of rows and the second one is the number of columns.
Okay.
Okay, so the below one is a 3 into 1. So it has 3 rows and 1 column.
Yeah.
So in case is three-dimensional. So and we say that the space is three-dimensional. If we
Yeah.
can, if we can write any vector in terms of three, in terms of three numbers, then it becomes three-dimensional.
Mm.
If we can write any vector in terms of four numbers, it becomes four dimensions, and so on.
Yeah.
So that is why a vector in n dimensions can be written as n into one dimensional matrix.
Mm.
That is why if the second number of the dimension of a matrix is 1, we call it a vector.
Okay.
So
So if
that is,
it's two, then it's matrix. It's more than
yes.
one.
So yes. So if the dimension, if the second number of the dimension is greater than 1, then it becomes a traditional.
Mm.
So, so if you are able to, get this thing, then it will help a lot in understanding the high dimensional space manipulations commonly done in
Yeah.
machine learning.
Mm.
Okay,
Okay.
so so this is a stretch to understand, the first time, but it comes with practice.
Okay.
Okay, so let me send
Okay.
you a link. Probably you can.
Okay.
I'm sending it to you on Hangout.
Okay.
Yeah, I just sent it to you. So probably you can create a Jupyter notebook and write those, execute those code.
Okay.
Yeah. You can just create a new one. I think first MB we are done with doing our first notebook
Okay.
thing. Okay, you can just close this.
Oh, you want me to create a new notebook?
Yeah, you can create a new notebook. So go to File, New Notebook. There is a new
Okay.
notebook here. Okay, you can do that as well. So new, in new you'll get it. You don't have to do anything there. You can go to the Jupyter notebook. You can
Oh,
go to
sorry.
the, you can, oh, you didn't need to interrupt.
Oh, here only?
Yeah, you didn't need to interrupt. You could have just created new from
Oh,
the
okay.
beginning. Yeah.
Oh, I thought of creating it here, create new or something like that.
Oh, no. You cannot create from here. You have to create from the
Oh, okay,
beginning.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you can, but I am not familiar with any such thing. So there is a new there towards the right hand side. Yes.
In this one, right?
Yes. Or it does
Oh,
not open. Maybe you can close this whole browser. Close this whole browser and you can open it in Chrome. Yeah.
okay. So
Copy
close.
the, you can copy the link.
Oh, what is it? Creating notebook.
Or you didn't need to close it again. Yeah. You can just copy the link and
Oh, okay. The copy the link, right? You
yes. You can copy the link. No, not this.
this one.
Yeah, inside. No, no. This was the old one. Yes, the bigger one.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
This one.
Yes.
The yeah. Anyway, it's open now. Okay, untitled.
Yes, untitled.
I can
Yeah.
rename it, right? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You
I
can
need
just
to write
import
that.
that one. Import Numpy. So
Numpy
before
is
typing, do you understand what is happening here?
yeah.
So basically, it's taking.
Uh,
Yeah, it's
Creating
taking
another
a list.
Numpy array
Yes, and creating an NP array. Correct. So which means
with this array.
yes, this is a list and it's creating an array. So basically, which means that it's creating a numpy vector.
Okay.
So you can just take any. Uh, okay, why is it still busy?
Yeah.
Okay, you can anyways type it, not an issue. So
Okay.
yeah, just give any list. Yes, okay, but it's still busy. Otherwise, you can't execute it.
Okay. Still.
Probably you can save it, close the browser, and it's probably better to open it in Chrome. You have opened it in,
Oh.
yeah. Just
Oh, yeah, it's better to open it in Chrome. Huh?
just save it. Yes. No, first save it because yeah, save and checkpoint. It's totally stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just copy the link. Yes.
It's green.
Yeah. It's running, but you can open it. Just click on it. Yes. Okay. So import.
Retrieve.
Oh no, this is the last one.
Oh, it's a
You
great
have to
type
type
again.
again. Yeah.
wasn't coming like this. Okay.
So you can do shift enter, it should create,
It's let
execute
be
and go.
right. Yeah.
Yes, a equals to num np dot array, and here you give a list and shift enter. A dot shape, check a dot shape. No, no, it's not a function. Yes, yes. So which means that it's a vector of four samples or a four-dimensional array, four-dimensional vector.
Oh. So
Okay,
4
like
comma 0 or 4 comma
so there is no 4
4? It's
comma
4 by 1,
0.
right?
Yeah, there
Oh,
is
is it 4?
never 4
Okay.
comma 0. It's always 4. So if there is no nothing after the comma, it means 4 comma 1.
Okay.
In Numpy, 4 comma or n comma is, which means that this is basically a vector.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so you can probably execute the next code. Okay, this is just, you don't need to run this because this is just benchmarking. Look for creative. Can you go more below? Import conventions, creating arrays. Can you go more below? Yes, yes. These are the things that you can do.
Okay.
Yeah.
A dot end time.
A dot ending. So which means that show me the n dimensional. Yeah, you can just shift enter. So this is the, what is the dimension of the, so what is the nth dimension of the array? So which means that it's one, it's basically a vector. Okay, you can see that
Mm-hmm.
the second one, it will show an nth dimension is the two.
Length is yeah, 4.
Yes.
Get another dimension.
So if you give list of list, it should give a matrix.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. What is the next command?
Number of dimensions is 2.
Oh, by the way,
Oh,
it will only show the last, whatever you type in the last. It
yeah.
does show the middle one. Yeah.
Yeah. So B dot end number of dimensions is 2. Here it's 4, right? Oh, 4 items basically. So
No, 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 no. So if you check B dot shape, you will understand that it's
2 by
basically,
2.
yeah, two
Hmm.
cross two matrix.
Yeah. What is end time?
So n dimension means how many features are there or how many columns are there. If you talk in SQL terms, columns are
Okay.
there. Okay. So
Okay.
yeah. So B dot shape gives the dimension of the matrix. So uh, n samples
Okay.
into n features. So second
Okay.
one, how many columns are there, and first one is how many rows are there. Yeah, keep those two different. Yeah, it will be now what 3 by 2.
2 rows and 3 columns.
Yes, so it should be like, yeah, two. Okay, it's like two columns, so 2 by 3. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. It's 2 by 3. Okay.
Yes. So maybe you can
And
go
then
more.
see. Okay.
Okay.
should I do this as well? See. 3 by 2.
Hmm. Now see the shape.
3
It
by
is
2 by 1. Yeah.
yes,
3 by 2.
3 by 2.
This one is 3 by 2 by
That is
1.
because that is a tensor. But
Okay,
yeah, but
so
your one is a matrix.
yeah, it's a matrix.
So to create a
3.
tensor, it has to be a list. So three level down
Oh, yeah.
or more than two levels. So three level down, then it becomes a tensor.
Okay.
Another list. Create another list inside that.
And then another list inside.
Yes. Yeah. Can you see what is the shape now?
2 by 2 by 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, there are three more functions that are important, I will say. Okay. One is that reshape. Let me see what the reshape function is. Okay. Reshape.
Yeah, now I can hear. Hello. Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. I was searching for. So there are two more functions that are important. Let me see. Yes. So I'm sending you the link through Hangouts.
Hmm.
Yeah, can you open this link?
Reshape.
Yeah, can you go with below? Yeah. Before that, if you can type that np.arrange and see what is A.
Okay.
So it will become a single R.
Okay.
So you can see that it basically creates an array from 0 to 7. So whatever np.arrange n, it creates an array from 0 to n minus 1.
So it creates a sample array of that
So
length.
if you give np.arrange and after that whatever number you give, it creates from 0 to n minus 1. Hello? Yeah, Shiva, can you hear me?
Hello. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So
Now,
reshape it 4 by 2.
yeah, can you reshape it? Oh, this does not work because reshape returns a value. It does not change it in place.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. So what we are doing is, so basically np.arrange creates a vector of length 8, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, this will also work. And a dot reshape, what it does is that it reshapes it to a different how I
Dimensionality.
can say, dimension matrix.
Okay.
So it will only work if your dimensions match with your original dimension.
Hmm. Yeah, if they can be done.
So yes, so you cannot reshape 8 to 2 3 because then it will not work.
Yeah.
Can you try 2 3 and see if it works?
So yeah,
Yeah, what is it saying? What is the error? Cannot reshape array of size 8 into shape. So the
so
size should
basically,
match.
okay.
Okay.
So you use this to transpose that kind of thing, right?
It's not transposing per se. It's more like transposing. It's something different. It's more like you are reshaping the dimension.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay.
So yeah, we can use it to transpose. Let's say yeah. Oh no,
So
maybe not, right?
transposing is different.
Because it's
Transposing will work if you just do a dot t. So do shift
okay.
enter, shift enter, a dot capital T,
Okay, a dot V.
T T, T for transpose,
Transpose.
capital T,
That's it.
capital T. Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. So you are getting it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. So we use these reshape. Like, what is the use case? Any?
So reshape is used a lot. One thing is, of course, you can just create dummy data. Another thing is
Hmm.
sometimes in many cases, one of my most common cases is that you have to say you have a dimension of a comma 1 which needs to be transformed into a vector, or probably it's something like you have transposed it and it did not come into the so the numbers are coming correct but the dimensions are not coming in a correct way. So those kinds of
Uh,
operations you need to do.
okay.
Okay, so
Hmm.
reshape is quite common. So all these are, so in many cases you have to initialize from list. So np.array will work. np.arrange is something that you generally use to create a test data so that you can easily, you know,
Hmm.
uh, yeah, plug
Yesterday,
it
yeah,
and test it.
we
What
created
else?
yesterday, right? For the xx is equal to np.arrange. We
Yes,
have
yes,
given
yes.
a
Yesterday only
pitch.
we tested it, right? We just created something.
Yeah, if we give like this.
Yeah, these are the most common. Okay, one more or two more are very common. It's ones and zeros. What it does is that it creates ones and zeros.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
So how to do
Yeah.
it? Arrange. Yesterday we gave something like h step size.
Oh, step size is different. Step size is, I think, you created for. So you can
If you go
probably
to
do start and then step size. So give 8 to 16 and step size probably to something. Or you can just see
8
yesterday's
to,
one.
so here we can, how do we do it?
So you can do probably 3 or 3 and then 9.
The, I'm finding it difficult to do this to look up these parameters Like there are so many parameters, right? And I think in yesterday's notebook,
So
uh,
can you see yesterday's notebook? You will get it there.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah, there only. Yeah,
Arrange, oh, min, max, and h.
yeah. So
Min, max, and some
a
number. Okay, three
starting
numbers
point,
basically.
yeah, a starting point and ending point and step size.
Oh, okay. So starting point one, ending point, then step size. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you cannot reshape an array of size into shape 2 4. You cannot
oh,
reshape.
one, it will be 10, right? 2 by 5 can do.
Yeah.
1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 18. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I think you should be good to go in major. Oh, yeah. Let's. So for the endpoint, let's take a look at some more theory. This is another that
Mm-hmm.
is very important.
Okay, one small question, like in this.
Yes. Tell me.
So yeah, so one of the columns is date. So I wanted to convert this date into week.
Okay. Into week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, how do we do it?
So then you probably have to write some custom function. Let me take a look.
Okay. So there was some x dot date uh, something. I looked up a function. I mean, which is already there, existing function which converts date into week. But this is the column, right? It's not coming up for me. So
Yeah, can you take a look at this?
uh, which one? Okay, we sent
Yeah, I sent you on Hangouts.
the last one.
Yeah, yeah, last one, Stack Overflow.
So df of date dot dt. Yeah, this is what I was
So
looking for.
df is whatever your data frame is. Date is whatever is the column name. So in your case, what is the column name?
Yeah.
Let's see what's the column name.
Column name is date.
Okay, date only, right?
Yeah.
But one question is: have you checked? Is it date or is it string? Is the date in big
Uh,
or
this
string
one.
format?
Okay, x dot a dot date type, right?
So why are you doing x dot a?
Oh no, nothing. Yeah, x dot date. It's x dot date. Is it fine? X dot date. I just used.
So can you use the dictionary format like use that what is it called brackets and inside that write it day?
Like this.
Yes.
X
Let's
of
see.
date dot date.
It's still giving errors.
Yeah, it's showing errors.
Okay, can you just remove the dot and just remove the
Okay.
dot? No, no, no. X dot,
X.
yeah, X dot
Okay.
date. Just do X dot.
X dot date. Okay.
Can you do the this one bracket and then put it inside the?
Okay.
Okay, it's not working.
Oh,
Oh,
then
oh,
X
got
is
it,
not
got it.
defined. Oh,
That
I
is
have to run this, right? Then
yes,
I'll have to
yes,
run this.
yes, yes. You did not run.
Okay.
You have to run it.
Okay. Okay. Now it works. Okay, got it. X dot date dot dt
Yeah, just do a D type. It does not work
d
like that.
type.
Just yeah, just do a D type. So it's an
Oh, d type.
object.
Oh.
So it's not really a date. So you have to convert it into a date.
Okay.
Okay. So what you can do is that x dot date equals to x. Just type x dot date or just do x. Yeah, x dot date dot. You don't remove the everything. No, no, no. The before one is was correct.
Okay.
Yeah, x dot date. After that, do dot apply. Yeah, dot apply. Yeah, inside bracket, write lambda. Let me see what the function should be.
Lambda.
Just give me some moments. Let me see what the function should be.
Okay. Okay.
So you can probably go to this link. Yeah, I sent you a timers. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, just go below a little bit. Yeah. See what they are doing. They are saying that,
To
uh,
date time.
yeah.
Extra period dot two underscore date time.
Can you go a little bit below? In the link, can you go a little bit below? See, that is in your format, correct?
This one, right?
Yes. So just look
Yeah.
a little bit below. They are doing PD to date time, infer date time
To
format.
date time.
Yeah, PD dot. No,
Format.
no, a little bit top, a little bit top, a little bit top. Yeah, here PD. Yeah, after that there is s dot head. After that,
Sorry.
yeah, after PD dot series there is s dot head.
Is dot head.
Yes.
Yeah.
So after that there is PD2 date time. Yes. Can you try this function?
Okay. With this time ID.
No, no. Time it is just to see how much time it takes. You don't really need.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So PD date time. Date time.
So you can do,
So how come
yeah, two date time.
it's not?
Yeah, two.
When I press start, it's not giving the function.
Oh, maybe it's not able to resolve it. Fine. Two underscore date time. Just type it up.
Date
Two
time.
date time.
S.
You don't need to give the
S.
s because you have already supplied the s, which is at x date. So give the other argument.
Okay.
Infer
Infer
date
date time format.
format equals to true. Let's see if it works. It, does not work. Series has no
Series
idea.
object has not reviewed
Can
to
you
date
see if the
time.
spelling is correct?
Oh, this is not a. Oh, this is a series. Okay.
Can you see if the spelling is
Become
correct? To date time,
date
to date
time
time.
underscore date time infer date time format. Infer date time format is equal to uh, true.
Okay. Okay.
True underscore date.
Can
So is this a series object or
yes, yes. This is a
saying
so
this?
whenever you take one column, it's a series object.
Okay, okay.
Maybe you can do PD dot. Can you do in that format like you give X date inside to date time and before to date time you say PD.
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Yeah, before
PD data.
yeah, just like how they are written. Yes. PD remove
So
the X date.
PD to date time and
Yes. And before
here.
insert, yes, give the X date here. And after yes, and after X remove the dot.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
it works. Now check Xstate's data type. Right?
Yeah, but it will not work because it does not do it in place. You have to,
Okay. Print, can I print?
Okay, let's
Oh,
check
this
if
I want to assign this.
it does it in place. Okay,
Okay.
let's check if it does in place.
Print, shall I print?
No, no, don't delete it. Let's check if it does in place. I mean, what you are doing was
Okay.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I should print, right? To know.
Yes. So what I'm saying is that probably that will not change it in place. Means
Okay. You'll have
it
to
does.
assign it to that.
You have to assign it, but let's check first.
Okay.
We can assign it later as well.
Yeah. But we'll have to check the data type, right? Because it will
Yes, yes, yes. Dot D type.
dot d type we should show. Can I? It's in
Yeah, these things are
internal.
very heavy, so it will take time.
Uh,
Okay, in the meantime, let us just look into some matrix multiplications.
okay, sure, sure. Go to the second one.
Let me send you a yes. This is a very good link. Okay, so here is very good description about vectors and scalar operations. Can you go a bit below?
Up.
Below, a bit below. Yes, if you see here A1 B1 plus A2 B2 equals to A1 plus B1 and A2 plus B2. The corresponding Numpy operation is also shown.
Okay.
Okay, go a bit below. So A1 B1 dot A2 B2 is A1 B1 plus A2 B2. Make sense?
Yeah.
That this is the dot product.
Dot product. Yeah.
Yeah. Next one is the Hedamart product, although Hedamart product is generally not needed, but okay. Dot product is more important. In any case, A1 B1
Hmm.
into B1 B2 is A1
Yes.
B1 and B2 B2.
Okay.
Okay. Can you go a bit below? So we have matrices, go a bit below. So we describe the dimension into rows. Yes, the if you see the Numpy operation, you will see they have defined a matrix and the shape of the matrix is 2, 3. The first has dimension 3, 2, the
2 by
second has
3.
dimension 2, 3.
Describe the dimension. So this is 3 2. Second 2 3. So okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
3. This is 2 3, right?
So first one is, remember, first one is the number of rows, second one is the number of columns. So you are correct.
Yeah. This is 3 2, but here this is 2 3. Okay.
Yes.
2 3.
Go a bit
Okay.
below. So
It adds
scalar
1 to
operations
everything.
work the same way. You add 1 to all the elements.
Yeah.
The second one is that matrix addition works where you add element wise.
It has to be same shape.
Yes. Uh, Hadamard product is again just element by element, but can you go a bit below? Matrix transpose you already know. It's like you are just rows to columns, columns to rows.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay.
So
Matrix
dot
multi.
product. Okay.
Sorry.
The Adamant product is A star B.
Yeah.
What is dot product?
Dot product is
Like,
uh,
how do we represent it in NP?
so dot product is
Oh, dot of X. Okay.
yeah np dot
Dot
dot.
dot. Oh. Okay.
Go a bit below. Matrix multiplication is the main thing. Okay, so you know
Mhm.
matrix multiplication. It's basically a1 b1 plus a2 b2. Uh,
Mhm.
yeah, a2 b1 plus a2 b2.
Yeah. This times this plus this times this,
Yes,
and then this times this plus this times this.
yes. The
But
numpy
here,
the numpy code should also show. Go a bit below. There should be the numpy code. Okay, numpy code is not given.
dot
Oh,
product basically.
just the dot will do. And you don't really need to write dot dot, just doing the multiplication sign also, normal multiplication sign should also work.
X star.
Yes, start.
Oh, star will that will give Hadamard product, right? No?
No, the star will give you the dot product. You can try it out.
Oh,
I will highly recommend you that you try out this sheet. Okay.
okay, sure, sure.
Yeah, go a bit below. Let's see. I think we have reached almost. Yes, yes.
Broadcasting.
So yeah, so this is numpy and vectors. This is very important because everywhere we are just going to deal with uh, matrices, and in matrix everything has to be numbers. So even if it's like in your matrix, so go to your data set, the one you are trying,
Yeah.
the where you had opened your data set. Yes, can you show me the data set? Yes, if you can see here, is holiday is actually
Mhm.
boolean.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but this will only understand numbers. So you have to convert this into numbers. Uh, Date is also a string. You convert it into date, but even the date object is not enough. You have to convert it into numbers. So matrices and all matrix operations only understand numbers. The others are
Okay.
type. Type is also a string, so you have to change it into a number.
Okay, so I'll have to take this range and represent it in something else, right?
Yes,
Like
yes.
give numbers to this.
Yeah, so we'll discuss on all those later. Right now, I will highly recommend you that you take a look at that last link that I have sent you, that Numpy link.
Okay, okay,
Okay. Yeah,
okay, sure.
yeah, we are done for today. I think it was a good session. So let me know if you have any questions later.
Okay, sure. Thank you, JJ.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Good night.